Let me start by asking you something real. Take a second and look at your life right now. Not the version you show people on social media, not the polished image you carry at work, but the truth. Are you multiplying what God has given you? Or are you just holding on, trying to survive, hoping it'll somehow be enough? Because here's the thing, most people aren't failing because they don't have enough. They're failing because they've buried what they already have. Maybe it's money sitting idle. Maybe it's skills you never developed. Maybe it's opportunities you never stepped into. And if that's you, don't feel condemned. Sometimes the most powerful breakthrough starts with admitting the truth. Yes, I've been burying my talent instead of multiplying it. Just type it out in the comments if that's hitting home, because owning it is the first step to changing it. Now, if you're new here, welcome to The Wealthy Edge. This channel isn't about chasing hype or chasing the next quick fix scheme. No, this is where we dig into timeless principles, the kind of wisdom that's been true for centuries, and we translate it into practical steps you can use to build real freedom, real wealth, and a real legacy. And if that's what you want, not just more money, but the wisdom to keep it, grow it, and multiply it, then hit that subscribe button right now, because here we sharpen your edge. And trust me, in a world where most people are just drifting, having an edge makes all the difference. All right, let's dive in. Jesus told a story that most people know as the parable of the talents. You might have heard it in church, maybe even skimmed past it in a Bible reading plan. But what most people don't realize is that this isn't just a spiritual story. It's one of the sharpest financial lessons ever written. Here's how it goes. A wealthy man is preparing to leave on a long journey, but before he goes, he calls in 3 of his servants. He doesn't give them instructions like, take care of my house, water the plants, feed the animals. No, he hands them something far greater. He entrusts them with his money. To the first servant, he gives what would equal millions of dollars in today's world. To the second, less. And to the last, just a fraction. Now pause for a second. Notice this, each one got something. Nobody walked away empty-handed. And that's already a lesson, because you might look at your life right now and think, I didn't start with much. I didn't inherit wealth. I didn't get the breaks others got. But the truth is, you've still been given something. And here's the part most people miss. It says he gave to each one according to their ability. That means the master already knew their capacity. He wasn't being unfair. He wasn't playing favorites. He was testing stewardship. So what happened? The first servant went out and put his money to work, and he doubled it. The second did the same. Both of them took what looked like opportunity and multiplied it. But the third one, he looked at what he had and said, I can't risk this. So he dug a hole in the dirt, dropped the money in, and waited, out of fear, out of laziness, out of a desire to play it safe. When the master returned, he praised the first 2. Well done, good and faithful servant. Because you've been faithful with little, I will trust you with much. But when he turned to the last one, the one who buried his opportunity, he condemned him, called him wicked, called him lazy, and he stripped away even the little that he had left. And that's where the sting comes in. Because the one who tried to play it safe actually lost everything. Think about this for a second. Which servant are you right now? The one multiplying or the one burying? Be real. Drop it in the comments, because awareness is where change begins. The heart of this story is simple. It's not about how much you start with, it's about what you do with it. And this is where so many people get stuck. They tell themselves, once I start earning more, then I'll save. Once I get that raise, then I'll invest. Once I have extra, then I'll get serious about money. But here's the reality. If you can't manage $1,000, you won't magically manage $10,000. If you can't handle $10,000, you'll waste $100,000. It's not the amount that changes you, it's your habits. Let me give it to you straight. Money doesn't change who you are. It simply magnifies who you already are. If you're careless with a little, you'll be reckless with a lot. If you're disciplined with a little, you'll multiply even a small amount into something meaningful. That's why Jesus' words cut so deep. If you can't be faithful with little, Why would God trust you with much? Think about that. Some of you have been asking for more income, more opportunities, more blessing, but God is watching how you handle what's already in your hand. Because wealth is never about the starting point. I've seen people start with nothing but a few $100s, and over time, through discipline and multiplication, they build empires. And I've seen people inherit fortunes only to blow it all within a decade. So hear me clearly, it's not about how much you start with, it's about stewardship. It's about how well you manage, grow, and multiply what you've been entrusted with. That's the test. That's the key. That's the foundation for wealth that lasts. Now let's talk about the one servant who buried his gift. Why did he fail? Because of fear. He literally said, "I was afraid, so I hid it." And isn't that the same thing holding most people back today? Fear of losing money, so you never invest. Fear of failing, so you never start. Fear of what others will think, so you stay quiet, stuck, small. But here's the paradox. Trying to play it safe is actually the riskiest move you can make. Inflation is eating away your savings. Skills you don't practice are fading. Opportunities you ignore, they don't wait. Doing nothing is the guaranteed way to end up with nothing. Pause and ask yourself, what opportunity are you burying right now? Because of fear. Be bold. Write it in the comments. You might inspire someone else to face theirs too. The servants who succeeded didn't think, "How do I protect this?" They thought, "How do I grow this?" That's the mindset shift you need. Stop asking, "How can I save more?" Start asking, "How can I multiply what I already have?" Multiplication is everywhere. You multiply money by investing. You multiply skills by learning. You multiply relationships by showing up and adding value. And when you multiply, something powerful happens. You attract more. The Master said, "To the one who has, more will be given." That's not luck. That's law. And here's the tough part. What you don't use, you lose. If you stop using your muscles, they shrink. If you stop practicing a skill, it fades. If you keep your money idle, it erodes. That's why the servant who buried his talent didn't just stay the same. He actually lost what little he had. This is why life feels unfair sometimes. Why does the rich get richer? Because they use what they have. Meanwhile, the one who refuses to grow loses even the little they started with. Think about it. What area of your life is shrinking right now because you're not using it? Drop it in the comments. I bet someone else is feeling the same thing. Now let's flip it. Faithfulness always attracts increase. If you're faithful with $500, you'll be trusted with $5,000. If you can manage a single opportunity wisely, more doors will open. This is why starting small is not a weakness. It's the proving ground. It's how life tests whether you're ready for bigger responsibility. So stop despising small beginnings. Your faithfulness with little is the very thing that prepares you for much. So the question is, how do you multiply in today's world? Let me give it to you straight. Multiply your money. Stop letting it rot in low-interest accounts. Invest in assets that grow. It could be stocks, real estate, or a small business. The vehicle matters less than the principle. Put money to work. Multiply your skills. Your income will rarely outgrow your skill set. Read, learn, practice, stack skills together. A skill set that compounds is unstoppable. Multiply your opportunities. Stop waiting for perfect timing. It doesn't exist. The person who acts imperfectly still beats the person who never starts. Multiplication isn't a one-time act. It's a lifestyle. Here is a quick question. Which one of these 3 money skills or opportunities do you need to multiply most in your life right now? Comment it below, and let's see what the Wealthy Edge community is focused on. So here's the challenge I want to leave with you today. Don't be the servant who buried what he had. Don't let fear, laziness, or excuses keep you stuck in the same place, year after year. Because the scary truth is this: the servant who buried his gift didn't just fail, he lost everything. And life works the same way. If you refuse to grow, you shrink. If you refuse to multiply what's in your hands, eventually even the little you have slips away. Opportunities fade, skills atrophy, And wealth never comes to those who are afraid to act. But here's the good news. If you make the decision today to multiply, even if it's just a little, you begin a chain reaction. You start to grow, to expand, to attract more. The seed of faithful effort, no matter how small, always leads to increase. And over time, the same God who entrusted you with that first gift will entrust you with greater things, bigger opportunities, bigger responsibilities, bigger blessings. So pause for a moment. Look at your life right now. Look at your talents, your skills, your opportunities, even the resources you think are small or insignificant. Ask yourself, am I burying this in fear, or am I putting it to work? Because your next step matters more than your starting point. Your next action matters more than your past mistakes. What you do with what's already in your hands will determine not just your wealth, but your freedom, your legacy, and the life you'll leave behind. So let me ask you one last time, what will you do with what's already in your hands? Will you bury it, or will you multiply it, and watch God, time, and life itself reward your faithfulness? And if this spoke to you today, don't just click away. Join this community. Subscribe to The Wealthy Edge, where we don't just talk money, we uncover timeless wisdom for building lasting wealth. Because the edge you need isn't out there, it's already in your hands. Now it's time to multiply it.